I'd like to give you a short sermon. Short. Because we have 3 o'clock already. And we should have more time for party after that. I chose John chapter 2. That's the related to the wedding ceremony. It is just for cup sheet. And also, I'd like to give the message to everybody. Of course, Melissa. Let me read John chapter 2, verse 1. From verse 1. On the 3rd day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." "Dear woman, why do you involve me?" Jesus replied, "My time has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out of and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tested the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." This story gives us that God gives the answer to our prayer more than we expected. As I read the scripture, this miracle happened at the wedding ceremony. In Palestine, they used to have a wedding ceremony for a week, sometimes longer. What did they do? Drink, 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 and dance and drink. It's a time to drink. It's time to celebrate. And wine is a symbol of celebration, because wine is the fruit of the grape, from grape. The wine is a symbol of God's blessing. So they drink wine to celebrate, to show their cheerfulness to bridegroom and bride, the new couple, the family. So the most important thing is wine. No question about that. But the problem was, wine was gone after 3 days. Wow. That's the thing the bridegroom should have not done in wedding ceremony. They have to have enough wine. But what happened? Maybe the family or the bridegroom could not count well the guests, or he was cheap. He was maybe did not have enough money to buy the wine, or the guests drank too much. So Fortunately, Mary, mother of Jesus, was there. And also Jesus and the disciples had been invited to the wedding, so they drank wine too. So when the wine was gone, maybe the bridegroom or the family of the bridegroom asked Mary. I don't know why they asked Mary. They are run out of wine. Maybe Mary was a part of the family, or she is one of the, she had the responsibility of the party. But it's not easy to get the wine at the time. It's not easy like our time. If we out of wine, go to the liquor shop and buy more, right? Yeah. Why don't you drive to the liquor shop and get a whole bunch of wine? But at the time, wine was made and saved at their own house. There is no liquor shop. And at the wedding ceremony, they collect the wine from their neighbors because they need wine. So ask the neighbors, please give your wine some from this house, his house, her house, and they save the wine for the party. So the wine at the wedding ceremony was gone means wine around the area were gone. So there were no way to get wine at the time. Maybe go to the next town or big city to buy some. But there is Cana, small town, country town. Maybe it takes half day or longer to buy one. The whole people around the town, Cana, came to the wedding ceremony, and half of them are drunk. So it's not easy to get the wine. They had a problem. They got stuck. They had no way to resolve the problem. Oh my gosh. So, Mother Mary asked Jesus. They have no more wine. Did Mary expected that Jesus would change the water into wine? Did Jesus did at home? Did you see the movie Bruce Almighty? Bruce Almighty? Did you realize the water Bruce hold the glass change into wine in the party? Was that what Jesus did every day? That's why Mary asked Jesus, Jesus, please change the water into wine like what you did at our house. No, I don't think so. Mary asked him as a son. As a son, Jesus, they have no more wine. Maybe you go to the next town to get more. You have disciples. Let the disciples go to collect more wine. But what Jesus said, dear woman, to mother, dear woman. I've never done it before to my mother. Dear woman. She will spunk me or she'll never serve me a meal. Actually, she goes to St. Rose Church and preach this afternoon. Thank you for her prayer. Jesus said, dear woman, why do you involve me? What a son. I don't have any relationship. I don't have with you this problem. I'm just a guest. So what? What do I have to do? Woman, this is your mother, not my mother. And also he said, my time has not yet come. Wow, this means something different. My time has not yet come. Maybe Mary did not understand what Jesus said. My time has not yet come. Because Jesus was a normal boy, grown up, and became a carpenter maybe. And he's an adult, became an adult, healthy, good-looking guy, I don't know. But he was not different from normal people. He was the same. He was the normal people. So Mary asked him as the normal son, as the usual son, to help the problem. But Mother Mary said to the servant, do whatever he tells you. Maybe she thought Jesus could something, not miraculously, but he could have some friends, because he was a carpenter. In that time, carpenter works not at their factory. They travel around. They to Galilee, Judea, Decapolis, in different cities and different areas. So the carpenter had a lot of friends. Maybe that's why Mother Mary asked Jesus, asked the servant, do what he tells you. Maybe Jesus has something connected to the people. But what Jesus did, he said to the servants, fill the jars with water. The jars were, how big it was? It was 20 to 30 gallons, which means about 100-liter jar, so big. That is not for keep the wine. That is for ceremonial washing. The jar keeps the water. In the time, the Jews had to wash their hands, and sometimes they put the water over them to purify them before a meal, before getting in the house. So maybe that house is so big. They have 6 jars of the ceremonial washing. So Jesus asked the servants, fill the jars with water. Wow, this is a tough job. It's not easy to fill the about 120 or 100 more gallons of jar. They don't have water. They have to take the water from the well, right? So it's tough for the servants, but they had to go how to do that. Maybe they thought, wow, we have the reason why we run out of the water is maybe we have some sins, So we have to put the water over us and purify the sins. Then God will ask the prayer or something like that. But the servant took the water from the well and put it in the jars 100 times, more and more. Oh, wow, so tired. And finally Jesus said, now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. What? take the water and bring it to the master of the banquet. Servants felt, well, I'm in trouble. But what Jesus said, I don't have any responsibility. Just take the water and go to the master of the banquet. They did so. The master of the banquet tasted the water. Tasted the water, the Bible says, not the wine. Tasted the water that had been turned into wine. Maybe when the master saw the glass or cup with water, or already became the wine, I don't know. When he had the water, that was the best wine he had ever had. Which means the wedding ceremony had 120 gallons of best wine. Wow! The party starts. Who can drink them all? This is what Jesus did. What happened? Mary asked Jesus, and Jesus answered what Mary asked him. Not because he was the son of Mary, but because they're in trouble. But because they asked Jesus to help. Jesus did not answer your prayer because he's your brother or father, but because you're in trouble, but because you pray, but because you ask him. He will answer your prayer in the midst of trouble, even in wedding ceremony. Yeah. Trouble will happen. Sometimes we are so happy. Yeah, that's the trouble. And Jesus answered your prayer more than you expected. Jesus will answer your prayer different from your idea. Keep this in your mind, okay? If you ask him, just rely on him. That's what Mary did. Mary started asking Jesus, then told the servant, do whatever he told. Once you start to depend on Jesus, just depend on him. And he will answer your prayer maybe different from your plan. Yeah. Maybe different from your idea. When you're praying, God, please answer my prayer such and such way, I have a plan, so please all these plans will happen to me. This is not the prayer. Your prayer should be like, Lord, I have a problem. That's all. Lord, I have a problem. Don't ask him, please change this and do that, like this, go and like this, with this plan. No. Just rely on him. Jesus has a plan, different from your idea, and better than you expected. Right? That's the life with Jesus. Life with Jesus is the festival. Amen? Let's pray. All right, Heavenly Father, thank you for this wonderful story. We keep this story in our mind this afternoon.